Hey, what's up, Bills Mafia? Welcome to episode 8 of Bills and BK. Last week, the Bills faced a devastating loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of things went wrong that game. Seems like nothing's going our way when we're in those last touchdown situations where we have to score a touchdown to seal the deal. Of course, it always seems like something goes wrong with us. In this case, Jake Elliott made a ridiculous 59-yard field goal to tie the game and bring us into overtime. The first thing that I would like to bring up is the fact that Sean McDermott kneeled the ball with 22 seconds left to go before going into overtime. Now, that has to be the softest NFL coaching decision I have ever seen. Okay, you got Josh Allen playing like a fucking stud all game long, right? You got the Bills offense rolling. Obviously, that secondary is weak. We were scoring on them all day. You're going to kneel the ball and basically surrender and just say, okay, we're scared. We don't want something to go wrong. We don't want a turnover. I mean, I understand that Josh Allen is prone to turnovers. And I know the conditions were wet out there, and you have a lot of excuses about why you want to just bring that ball game into overtime. But the fact of the matter is that you've seen a team beat us in 13 seconds. You've seen a team drive the ball down the field and kick a field goal in 13 seconds. We had 22 seconds. And you don't want to give Josh Allen a shot to drive the ball down the field and kick a field goal and win that game? And I'm going to be honest, it's making me think a little differently about Sean McDermott now. I know in the last couple episodes, I have not been talking about McDermott as being part of the problem. But maybe McDermott is part of the problem. I mean, if you think about it, every time that our defense is backed into a corner where we're in a situation where we need to perform to win the game in the last drive, our defense fails. It's not a good look when every single time we're in an overtime situation and Sean McDermott, being the defensive coordinator, cannot put together a defensive last drive that wins us the game. And to be honest with you, if we don't make the playoffs this year, Sean McDermott might be out of here next year. And maybe rightfully so. That's 2 weeks in a row where Joe Brady has put up 30-something points for us. That's a good sign. Offense is looking really good. I know the media is going to try to put this loss on Josh Allen, but when you look at the stats, he totaled 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, okay? He did everything he could. And I know there's a big controversy at the end of the game with that Gabe Davis route. Should he have cut to the pylon? Should he have cut to the middle? Did Josh Allen put the ball in the wrong place, or did Gabe Davis turn the wrong way? Okay, this is a big controversy going around the NFL right now. Everybody's talking about it. I was watching the Pat McAfee show the other day, and they believe it was Josh Allen's fault. They believe that Gabriel Davis ran the right route and that Josh Allen did not put the ball in the right spot. I got my longtime friend Justin coming on the show today. He's a longtime football guy, loves football, loves Josh Allen. I consider him to be very knowledgeable with football. One of my most knowledgeable friends, I will say. So I'm going to bring him on the show, and we're going to get his thoughts on this, on what he thinks happened that last play of the game, and whose fault he think it was. Let's get him on the phone, shall we?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Justin Wozney, welcome to episode 8 of Bills and BK. You are the first ever guest star. How's it feel?
It feels good. I can't see you, though.
You can't see anything?
I see a ring.
Oh, no, you're good. I can see you.
No, I see a ring.
Yeah, it's because you're facing the camera, but I can see you in the reflection.
I'm never going to see you this entire time?
I mean, unless I go like this. But if I do this, then the fans can't see you. That's the problem.
The window. Wait, let me pull you back up. Okay.
See, if I do this, I can see you, but then the fans can't see you. And we need the fans to see your beautiful face. They need to know what they're talking to.
This is going to be so weird. I'm going to be talking to this ring the whole time.
Just a picture of what my face looks like, and just picture my face in your mind, and then look at my face in your brain.
Okay. That's good, man. Real excited. I'm really excited to be here today. I appreciate being the first person. I want to say I'm really impressed with a lot of the things that you've been talking about. I feel like each episode's been getting better. It's fun to watch you talk about football, especially the passionate Bills fan that you are. And a lot of the things that you've been bringing up, I mean, it's spot on. I think some of the conversations surrounding Gabe Davis in your previous episodes, I wonder how you feel about that this week. That's something I'm really excited to hear about. I'm also really excited. I feel like you're one of the biggest Josh Allen defenders I've ever met. Sometimes some would say when you spend a lot of time defending something, maybe you get kind of of lost in the weeds a little bit, and you can't see the forest through the trees in a perspective where, maybe he's not as great as he was previously, which is a very interesting conversation to have. So I'm excited to be here, man. I'm thankful that you invited me. So,
Yeah, man, you are the first ever guest star on Bills with BK, so this is a big deal. I brought you on because of your vast knowledge of football. I was telling the fans earlier that you are one of my friends I consider to be my most knowledgeable of football in general. You have been there every step of me the way when we got Josh Allen. You were sitting next to me on the couch when we drafted Josh Allen. You got Sam Darnold. I know you wish you got Josh Allen, and the rest was history.
I do. I remember that couch sit for my entire life. I will say to your fans, though, it started me with wanting Baker Mayfield, purely so I could have the Baker emoji and use that throughout the entire season. But we ended up getting Sam Darnold, and then watching Josh Allen go to you guys. Because remember what I said? He's the boy from Wyoming can throw that football through a house, and I think he's done that in his time in Buffalo.
I think he has. I think he certainly has. Now, the biggest thing that I want to talk about today is, yes, that very last play of the Bills-Eagles game last week. I want to get some outside perspective on that. I was watching the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and they offered a different perspective, which I thought was interesting because it seemed like the general consensus on that play was that was Gabriel Davis's fault. Although on Pat McAfee, they did talk about how they thought it was Josh Allen's fault. Now, what I saw, coming from my perspective, was a situation where you had where it was an option route, right? And the defense was displaying a cover zero. There was no safety over the top. Now, Josh Allen was getting blitzed on the play, and Gabriel Davis was running the route. Now, maybe Josh Allen had an extra second or two to throw that ball. It's hard to say. And when you're in his situation, maybe it felt like he didn't. It looked like when we were watching the replay that maybe he had an extra second, maybe he didn't. But it's hard to put yourself in that situation and know in real time how much time you have to throw that ball. But what I saw was an option route by Gabriel Davis where he could either cut to the pylon or cut up to the middle. And I think in that situation, when the defense is showing a cover zero and there's not that safety sitting over the top, you want to put that ball in the middle of the field since there is no safety there on defense. What are your thoughts on that?
So, originally I thought it was more of a Josh Allen was under pressure and duress, so he threw it as quickly as possible. And at the time he threw it, Dave Davis kind of had a choice to go inside or outside, and it was kind of one of those things where you'd want to get your head around a little bit faster.
Right.
But my point being that when you can see the defense is bringing everybody in, right? You can see that there's no safety. There is that automatic conversation that should be happening between quarterback and wide receiver where you're saying that route is something that's coming out fast. I believe it's called a hot route. Where you have them knowing that there's going to be pressure coming on this side, which means you're giving up a little bit in coverage, and that your head should be on a swivel for the fastest pass possible.
Right.
And then you're saying to yourself, he is going to be under duress. It's really not on Josh Allen. It should be more so on the wide receiver to know that that's going to be a quick cut-in. Now, your conversation last week on Bills with BK, you're worried about Gabe Davis, right?
Yeah.
We're worried about the fact that he is the wide receiver 2 on the team.
Right.
I think he's getting game balls. He's a hell of a blocker. But I think that it's a lot more on him than it is on Josh Allen. So I would say, in hindsight, looking at it, I would say that you should know that that's going to be a quick throw. So whatever communication needs to happen between Josh Allen and Gabe Davis, that needs to happen so that he knows to be looking at it. And that's kind of like that's a thing I know that's very well known throughout the league is when you get into these situations where you know that there's going to be someone in your face, that gives up somebody in coverage, and that should be the route that you're choosing. And in this case, no safety, you're 100% right. Should be going on the inside, not per se the pylon. Although the play was probably pylon. The play was probably drawn up to hit him in the pylon, right? Because you're looking at it. That's probably what the play was. But because of that pressure, that needed to change to an inside route because Josh Allen doesn't have the time to finesse the ball to the corner pylon in that play, right? Because he's under pressure. So I would imagine the quarterback has something to do with that, whether it be a hand signal, a gesture, or a call. But I know my overall issue here, and the point of my challenge to Josh Allen is the they just don't do it when they need to, and that is something that I feel like has been a struggle for this particular Bills team. It's finishing when you need to, and that's one of those moments where, hey, you need to know this needs to be a clean pass, and we win the game. We beat the Eagles in Philly, right? Like, we beat the Eagles in Philly. The only other team to beat Philly is the Jets, you know? So you guys could be like us, go in there,
Oh,
beat the
boy.
Eagles. You got it all in your hands. But in those moments, it's just not happening, and quarterback touches the ball every play. So there is a part of that. I know you can edit some of this, so I'm just going to talk and you can do whatever you want.
Dude, you say whatever you want. It's all going to make it in there. The Jets did, in fact, beat the Eagles. They're the only team in the NFL that have beaten the Eagles. Don't worry. That's definitely making the cut. Okay? We're not going to take that from you. We're not going to take that from you.
But I do. That's my overall point, and I'm interested to hear what you have to think, because, again, I just getting these feelings that, like those are the plays. Like, that's my point, and that's what I want to hear about. That's what I want to hear from you, because you talk about Josh Allen every week. I need you to explain to me, when do we start to worry about the fact that this team is not beating good teams in close, winnable situations, and you need that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially if you're with the playoffs that you have, guys. I mean, AFC is not easy to get to. And it might be worse next year with Aaron Rodgers, possibly. But at least this year, you got the Chiefs, and, you know, you've got a lot of these AFC teams that they're closing these games out. And the AFC is not the biggest and best division, but, you know, you're worried. At some point, you have to worry about Josh Allen being able to win football games in the end. There's got to be a part of you that's concerned.
No, there absolutely is, and I will say that I think in general, I think the media likes to put these things on Josh Allen because they find things in the games he did wrong, right? He threw that interception, you know, that resulted in them scoring. Obviously, that was bad. He was trying to force a ball to Stephon Diggs. It got picked off. Obviously, it was also a good read by the defense. But Josh Allen has to stop forcing the ball in those situations, trying to make plays, trying to do too much. And we've talked about this too, Justin, where we say that Josh Allen is doing too much. He's putting the whole city of Buffalo on his back. Like I mentioned in the episode last week, Josh Allen's putting the whole city of Buffalo on his back, and that's when things go wrong. When the whole team pulls their weight, and we're running the ball, and the defense is playing well, and the play call is good, and it's not just like Josh Allen having to be Superman and win the game for us, that is when our offense is functioning at a very high level. And last week, I felt our offense was functioning at a very high level. I felt like we were playing very good ball. Sure, Josh Allen made a bad pick at one point, but generally speaking, Josh Allen had a hell of a game. And I don't think anybody can really put that game on Josh Allen. I get that he touches the ball every single play, so it's easy to be like, well, you know, he touches the ball every play, so in the end, when you lose a game, it's on him. However, I don't believe that it is safe to say that this is on Josh Allen losing that game, because I feel like Josh Allen played very well overall that game. I feel like he did a lot of things right. I feel like the offense was rolling. I feel like the offense looks a lot better week 2 with Joe Brady at the helm. Felt like that was the case last week, where our offense was functioning at a very high level and things were going good. The only thing that I really point out that was on Josh Allen that game was when he tried to force a ball to Stephon Diggs and it got intercepted, and then it did result in the Eagles scoring. So if you're gonna have one takeaway from that game that was on Josh Allen, it would be that interception. However, overall, as a whole, I think Josh Allen did his thing. The guy had 400 yards total. He had 4 touchdowns. At the end of the day, you got Bass missing field goals. You got Sean McDermott not able to put together a finishing defensive drive, which has seemed to be kind of a pattern lately, with Sean McDermott not being able to put together a defensive drive at the end of the game when we really need him to. It feels like the Buffalo Bills defense plays well until it has to play well enough to win us the game, and then it falls apart. And I don't want to put the entire blame on Sean McDermott, But at a certain point, you got to put this guy in the hot seat when you have such a talented team with all this talent and everything going for it. And then Sean McDermott just seems like he can't close out the game. So I would put probably that loss more on Sean McDermott than I would put on Josh Allen. I don't know. What do you think?
Putting the Bills on your back is not how you're going to win a championship, in my opinion. So I think we kind of agree there.
Mm-hmm.
He can't, when he wills the win, he doesn't win. There's some players that can will it. I think I've seen a couple of Jalen Hurts, a couple of his games where he wills the ability to win and throws those passes.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is a great example of
Yep.
someone who wills the win.
Tom Brady.
I don't think Tom Brady. Dak Prescott doesn't. And I'll say it. I mean, nobody tortures another quarterback. Like, we want to talk about what they've thrown Josh Allen under the bus, but nobody gets tortured as much as Dak Prescott does.
Absolutely.
Wears that star in his helmet. But that man is not willing the game to a win. It's just those are the type of quarterbacks. You can still win, but you win by doing your job, and I think that's where Josh Allen's thinking. My next comment's going to be based on what you said. Man, McDermott. Like, that's where you're going to go with this. You're going to turn on McDermott at this point. And I get why. Because, hey, Jets have had a revolving door of coaches. I sent a slew of drunk tweets the other night saying we need to fire Robert Saleh. I get what we are saying here. When push comes to shove, the executioner's walking down that line with Nax. And you already got the offensive coordinator going. And I think the greater point here is that the Bills are running out of opportunities. And not running out, but that roster and the way it's created, every roster has windows. And you guys are coming close to a window. It doesn't mean that by Josh Allen continuing to be the quarterback and you make a new move, another window opens. It doesn't mean that it can't. But this window with Diggs and this defense and the way that it's being built, that window is coming close.
No,
so
for
are you
sure.
going to say to yourself, the guy who's building it, let's get him out of here? You automatically close that opportunity. You have to bring a new coach in, a new process. You might want to let this window close before you start thinking about asking the head coach. Because remember, he did get you here.
Well, look, and that's what I want to bring up is that I did say I believe it was maybe 2 episodes back that before McDermott came around, we were a losing franchise. Sean McDermott showed up, and we started winning ball games. We started going to the playoffs. He took Tyrod Taylor to the playoffs that first year, and that first year he was almost on the edge of winning Coach of the Year because he was doing this with Tyrod Taylor. He didn't even have Josh Allen as the starting quarterback at this time. So I give Sean McDermott all the props in the world. I mean, he brought us out of the mud and brought us into being a winning team. So I will always respect Sean McDermott for that. But the thing that he lost me for last week that really made me start to turn on him is what the fuck are you doing kneeling the ball with 22 seconds left to go into overtime? Why are you not giving Josh Allen the opportunity to drive down the field and kick a field goal and win that fucking ball game? We watched the Kansas City Chiefs do the same thing in 13 seconds. And we don't have faith in Josh Allen to do it in 22 seconds? Come on.
Without giving it an opportunity.
Without giving Josh Allen. This is not Bortles, okay? We have Josh Allen as a quarterback. And we don't have faith that in 22 seconds he can drive the ball down the field and and let us kick a field goal to win the whole game. I mean, this is the Josh Allen that's playing out of his mind this game. I mean, the way that Josh Allen was playing, and I get some people are saying, oh, well, it was really wet and it was rainy and, you didn't want to risk a turnover or something crazy to happen in those last 22 seconds. But the way that Josh Allen was already playing in the rain, and you're gonna tell this man, we don't believe in you, we don't think that you can do it, so we're just gonna kneel the ball and just go in overtime and try to win the game that way. Because what if we don't get the ball back? What if we lose that coin flip, which we didn't, we won it, so it's a moot point. But let's say we lost that coin flip, and then we're in a situation where the Eagles can just take the ball and march down the field and score a touchdown and win the game. Then how does Sean McDermott look?
No, okay, I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, you should be going for that. You should be at least giving it an attempt. But at the same time, what does that say? That says I'm confident that my defense is going to stop the Eagles. And if they don't, at least we might get the shot first. Because even though they had the opportunity and everything was there, I agree. You should be trying to get, especially against the Eagles, you should be trying to take up every single opportunity you can.
I mean,
So,
especially with our track record in overtime losses. We were 0 for 5 in overtime games, and McDermott knows that. He knows that we're 0 for 5 and now 0 for 6. But going into that last 22 seconds, in his mind, he thinks to himself, okay, we're 0 for 5 in overtime losses. Let's try to see if we can win in overtime this time and just have faith in our defense to stop Jalen Hurts, which hasn't been done yet because every other overtime situation, our defense has crumbled. So I don't understand how if you're Sean McDermott, you don't think to yourself, hey, I got Josh Allen. I got a pretty good shot at him putting together a good drive and finishing it with a field goal that wins the game.
Yeah, I don't think he even thinks that. I don't think that coaches are aware of streaks like that. So I don't know if he's sitting there saying, my team's 0 for 5 in overtime because coaches usually don't. They usually go for like more deeper stats, like okay, well, what has the game so far taught me in this specific circumstance?
Right.
So I would only give that type of defense, but still, you have that time left. You go after the Eagles. You got the Eagles on the ropes. They had this amazing field goal. They had to do the field goal, right? It's just it kind of puts you in that situation where you'd want to, but the other part would be the stadium was pretty rowdy. Right, you just got this guy hit a 62. What was it? 62.
59-yard field goal. Yeah, it made me sick.
59-yard field goal to get you in the rain to get you into overtime. That place was a madhouse.
Yeah.
So it's probably let's sit down. But hey,
true.
I get it. Do I think it's a fireable offense? No, I don't. I think McDermott's done better than worse, and I think he's a good coach. My biggest thing is you did have some issues. What's gone on since the Dayball is my question.
What's going on since what?
Right? Since Brian Dayball left.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what I would believe. Between that and maybe the defensive coordinator leaving for whatever circumstances, what has this offense done since Dayball left, and how do they intend on replacing that? And if it's Brady, because I like Brady. Brady was in college. He's part of that giant LSU team that is probably considered the best coached or the best college football team in a long time.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. I mean, this guy can be a coordinator. He was getting head coach interviews at one point. So I love that direction. You got the slants or the screen passes in repetition. You're not the Dolphins, so it's hard for you. As you said, it's even hard to find your wide receiver too. So I don't know if I love you can't do the same stuff that the Dolphins or the 49ers do. But I think within that offense there should be some opportunity, especially with Gabe Davis, who's really been blocking very well for you guys.
Yeah.
In certain opportunities. So that's probably where I would go more. That and you're going to have to start looking at your defense at some point.
No, absolutely.
The linebacker crew, but I've always been worried about the safeties and the corners for the Bills. In a way of saying like they were scary and now they're starting to become less scary.
Yeah.
From a Jets fan perspective, of course.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep guys healthy. And it's tough, but the defensive line, I think, is ferocious. So that's where I would draw my attention. I think the offensive coordinator has been a hole for you guys for a bit, and I think this is a good fresh restart.
Yeah, Joe Brady is definitely a step in the right direction. It's night and day with him versus Ken Dorsey. I think we all, as football fans, can see the difference in this offense rolling without Ken Dorsey and with Joe Brady. But it also, like you were mentioning earlier, with that Gabriel Davis and Josh Allen situation at the last play, that's just being on the same page with your guys. And that's every week in and week out in practice. You got to be establishing this kind of chemistry where you know what your guys are doing just because you're playing with them all week, And that's where I start to wonder, where is this disconnection? I mean, we're at week 12, and you don't know which way Gabriel Davis is turning on that play. I feel like they should be having conversations in practice where they know what they're doing in these situations and where the ball is best for that receiver. Teams.
That's coaching too, right?
Right.
That's coaching. So that goes to what we were talking about before, where it's quarterback. Quarterback's at fault. Gabe Davis is at fault, right? Offensive line might even be a little bit into there. But then how are we? You said something very very. That I want to highlight. Like how are they communicating during the week? And that's your OC. That's quarterbacks coach. That's
Mm,
Josh Allen. That's Gabe Davis. So
yeah.
it comes back to the point. What's going on in the OC room? And there has been a giant change. So maybe that change is somewhat reflecting, but you would hope that Josh Allen and Gabe Davis in their third year, maybe even more together,
And it's 4 years.
they are
This is
able to
Gabriel Davis's
understand.
last year in his rookie contract.
So you every once in a while you get those quarterbacks like they just know each other's tendencies. A lot of the guys with Roethlisberger had it, like when Roethlisberger and AJ Brown were in their height. You have, as I said, what's his face, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams is the one that just kind of pops up for me.
Yeah.
Those relationships with wide receivers that you establish over a period of time. I don't see Josh Allen having that with any of them. Even Stephon Diggs, the guy is targeted the most in all of football. He is targeted. Yet he has good amount of catches, but for the amount he's targeting, I mean, you would think he'd have a little bit more. And his behavior off the field, in his frustration, in the stuff that's constantly swirling around the guy, I don't think they built that relationship. And I think that's something that I would wonder is how is Josh Allen getting these wide receivers on the same page with him weekly? How is he as a leader, or are these wide receivers just not able to listen or not relating with the message? Because that would be my concern there. It doesn't feel like Josh Allen has that with anyone on his team.
Yeah, but that goes back to my point earlier where is Gabriel Davis a true wide receiver too? Is he as talented as Devonta Smith or T. Higgins or even Brandon Cooks? Like, is he that guy? Because it seems to me that Gabriel Davis is either a hero or a zero. You know what I mean? Like, you either have no catches from Gabriel Davis or you have him go off for a touchdown, 100 yards, and he plays great. But then he has weeks where he doesn't even have a single catch. And is that Josh Allen is not looking for Gabriel Davis, or is that just Gabriel Davis not getting open? I think it's Gabriel Davis not getting open against these really good teams. Because, again, Eagles' secondary is very soft. So Gabriel Davis had a good game against a soft secondary. Can he have a good game against a good secondary?
Yeah.
And that's where I start to wonder his abilities. Yeah, I mean, I think the Bills are going to be in a rebuilding year next year. If we miss the playoffs, for one, I think that McDermott's probably going to be out of here because I don't think you can make a legit excuse about why the Bills are missing playoffs with all this talent. Even though we got really banged up on defense, we lost Tre'Davious White, we lost Matt Milano, we lost Daquan Jones. Obviously, these things are going to hurt us, but at the end of the day, the roster is still packed with enough talent where we should not be missing the playoffs. And that's when you have to start looking at the coaching. And we looked at it with the offensive standpoint, and we got rid of Ken Dorsey, and we got Joe Brady in there, and I think that was a step in the right direction. But it just seems like McDermott, when he comes to these clutch moments where we have to win, he doesn't seem to deliver it. But I think that our defensive window is definitely closing in the sense that some of these guys are just getting older, and they only have so many more years. I mean, how many more years does Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde have? I mean, our safety duo there definitely has an expiration date, and just because of Father Time, it's not even their fault. They're just getting up there. And then you got Von Miller, who's been a complete bust. I'm officially saying it. Von Miller is a bust. And I hate to say that. This year, he's a bust. And I hate to say that. This year. No, I'm not saying Von Miller's career is a bust. No, fuck no. Von Miller is a beast. And
no, but like last year.
And that's what I'm saying. Before he got hurt last year, he was playing great. But we had a 50-50 shot of the guy being able to have a few good years left in him or get hurt and not be that guy anymore, and it went the other way.
Yeah.
And I think that he's still going to be a good... I think right now, all we can count on Von Miller to be is a great presence in the locker room. You know what I mean? I think we need him to be that guy who's coaching these younger guys and coming from a viewpoint of someone who's won some Super Bowls and has been around for a long time. But, I mean, when you look at Von Miller out in that field with these plays, it's almost embarrassing, man. He's getting beat one-on-one by every defender he comes across. And it's almost to the point where, like, I don't want him on the field anymore. Let Greg Russo be out there. Let Epinesa be out there. Let Leonard Floyd be out there. Like these guys are great and they're playing great ball. But at this point, just let Von Miller be a voice in the locker room. He could be a team captain even. He could be a big influence in other ways. But just on the field, it's rough, man. And I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that I hope that this is just him continuing to come back from his injury. And I hope that as the weeks come on, he can get better and better. But we're at week 12, and I haven't seen Von Miller make a single sack this year. I think he's only had 2 tackles on the season. So when you're
What's
talking
his on-field percentage? Do you know his on-field percentage compared to other guys? Like, how often is he on the field versus those other guys you mentioned?
I think it's less.
60%?
Yeah, probably. I think it's less because McDermott has been recognizing that he is a weakness on our defense right now. So I don't think it's that much. But yeah, probably 60%, something like that.
Yeah, so that number needs to go down. It's when you start to get to this vision, because very similar situations happening currently right now on the Jets, where we've got Carl Lawson, who we paid for. He couldn't stay healthy. He's been in and out of IR. He played maybe a couple games, and he was pretty decent. And then you get to that point where that player starts to show some decline, and then you say to yourself, what do I have behind him? And if I've got other guys, I increase their percentage, I start lowering his, but sometimes you don't do that right away. Sometimes you don't do that to protect the player because you want to make sure the player has an opportunity to find work somewhere else. There's a bunch of different reasons behind it. It's a relationship you have with that player. But I know it took the Jets way too long to move on from Carl Lawson to start featuring Jermaine Johnson a little bit more.
Yeah.
And Bryce Huff, who we're going to lose in free agency anyway. But I would say you got to start lowering that percentage. But it's usually a sensitive conversation between the player and the coach, because you're basically telling the guy, we're lowering your snaps. And when you lower snaps, you lower pay. When pay gets lowered, you start saying to yourself, do I really want to do this anymore? And that might be where Von Miller is in a small place. But he's got a podcast now. It's no BK with the Bills.
It's still BK with Bills. No Bills with BK.
Yeah.
All right, Justin. Well, thanks for coming on the show today. I know that you are a longtime Josh Allen fan. Even though you might be a Jets fan, you'll always have love for Josh Allen, so I know you always give that guy a fair shake.
I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to keep watching your channel, so, keep going. And your sign-off is Go Bills. Mine's going to be Go Jets.
All right. Well, that's all we got for you guys this week. Go Bills.
Go Jets.
There we go. All right, guys. See you next week. Thanks for coming on, Justin.